Despite more than 3 years of war, huge military expenses and waves of sanctions, Russia's economy appears to be thriving.
Хотите батоны, а хотите дроны.
But as President Trump threatens harsh economic sanctions,
We just don't see any progress being made.
and cracks begin to show, how long can it last?
War has been a huge stimulus for the Russian economy, but they can't continue doing this forever. The reality is they're likely to run out of money.
Since launching its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, Moscow has ramped up its military spending. As the war continues, President Trump has vowed to turn up the economic pressure on Moscow, threatening tariffs and secondary sanctions if a ceasefire isn't reached. But Russia has shown it can adapt to economic pressure. Since launching its full-scale invasion of Ukraine, it has become the most sanctioned major economy on the planet. Despite this, in 2024, Russia's economy outpaced the growth of most advanced nations, including the US. Moscow turned its economic focus on supplying its war effort in Ukraine, with even the most unlikely companies focusing on war. Russian state TV broadcast a segment about a bread factory that swapped dough for drones.
Они еще пахнут свежим хлебом.
They're spending a tremendous amount of money on armaments. So there's been the expansion of the military-industrial complex. That's hoovered up labour. So we've seen unemployment in Russia actually fall to a 30-year low.
Russia has largely been able to sustain these high levels of spending thanks to its oil and gas sector, which makes up around 20% of Russia's GDP. With President Trump threatening to come down hard on Russia, concerns are growing that this could have far-reaching consequences. Trump's threats also come as cracks in Russia's economy are beginning to show. Despite the economic risks, experts believe Russian President Vladimir Putin remains committed to his goal of seizing as much of Ukraine as possible, and that Russia will try to sustain its military economy for years to come as it eyes conflicts beyond Ukraine.
If you look at Russian defence expenditure, 2025 is likely to be a peak. But that's on the basis that at some point there will be a ceasefire. At that point, we'd expect defence spending to moderate. But we don't see spending going back to the 2022 or 2021 level. It's going to stay elevated. Russia would say that it still faces threats. It would argue that NATO is a threat, so they need to be prepared. I think they do understand that at some point this war will have to come to an end. But of course, politically, Russia is going to seek to do that on its own terms.